Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I've invented another pop-up card. This time it's a nativity scene. So let's have a good look at this. So you've got the cow, the donkey, the three kings, a camel. You've got Joseph and Mary, baby Jesus of course, shepherd, sheep, lamb and a palm tree, and obviously the angel and the Star of Bethlehem. Now I've been very quiet because it's been a long time in the making and there's an awful lot of artwork in this one. It took me a while to work out the mechanisms even on how to put it together. Now the card, it will all be available for you to download as PDFs and make your own on Etsy and Ko-fi. I'm going to show you how to do everything. I will just go through what you get. Now you do get this card, and I've done the card so there is, as most of my things are, they're on 8 1/4 by 11. Now what that means is that if you are US or A4, so you've got US letter or you've got your A4 UK, they work on both. So what happens is, I'll show you with the cards. So what happens, this is your basic guide instructions, and then you've got a few diagrams to help you on your way, etc. Then we've got the stable, it's got like little descriptions of where to fold, etc. All the characters, and then the card. So the card blank, what happens is, now you can see the difference in quality by the way, so this is not so good. So this is not a photo card, so what I use is a matte photo card or paper when I do my prints, because they're just that much sharper. So what I've done, as you'll see on the bag, this is A4, so when you print on A4 you set your printer to A4 and you'll get a white strip down the sides. When you do it with your US letter you'll get a white strip. Now this is with borderless printing on this back side, but that's normal, okay? So only borderless on here to get it to completely cover the card. So what happens when you fold this card in half, it will work perfectly on the front, and you just need to cut down 1/8 of an inch off each end, and it ends up being 11 by 8 1/4. If you use A4, then what you do is you fold this card in half, and then you cut this side down to be 5 1/2 that way, so that then you've got your whole card. Now obviously you can make your own cards, you can do your own designs, you can ink the inside, you can do whatever you want. I've also provided some more of the wood and the sand, and then I've printed that double-sided, and you can see I've got a border because I've printed on A4, I've got a border top and bottom. If you use 8 1/2 by 11, yeah that's right, you have a little strip down the sides, but it will still work because I've invented everything to be the same. So if it comes out of your printer this way, when that side comes out, put it back in the same way and make it come out the same way. So just note how it comes out, flip it that way, not that way, because if you flip that way it'll be upside down, but you need to flip it around that way to get your double-sided print. So you'll need a double-sided sheet of that, or this is, so let me show you the purpose of this. Let's go back to the card, what have I done with it? So the purpose of that is, if I didn't do that, can you see these tabs are all covered? So this one is covered in the sand colour from the base. The manger is made from the same wood as the stable. This is the base colour, and things like that. So what I've done is I've put colour on the tabs, otherwise they would have been pure white and everything would have shown up, all the mechanisms. Now if you're using a white card and that's how you're going to be, then the white tabs will look white on the white, if you see what I mean. But it's optional, you don't have to do it, so that's why I did it. But obviously, like I say, you don't have to do it. And then you've got your basic instructions, like I say. So on that wood and sand, I've cut everything out. So we've got like the straps for Joseph, Mary. This is only telling you what the sizes are. These are not actual size. So the manger you need 2 1/2 by 1, 3.25 by 1, 3.25 by 1. But you'll get all this information in the kit. It's going to be £4.99. And again, we've got tabs here, so we've got like A to B, C to D, so everything will be explained. Obviously you can just do your own thing with it, you can download it, watch how I make it and do your own thing with it. Now you can't sell this artwork as it is, you can make things and sell the made things with it. Quite happy for you to do that. So let's get started. So what I've done, rather than bringing my scoreboard in and out, because it's going to be quite a big demo, and having to show you every single step of the way, what I've done is I've already pre-cut everything. So I've cut down the sides of my card, so it's now 8 1/4 by 11. And obviously, like I say, you don't have to use this card, but make sure your card is up the right way before you start. Okay, so just bear that in mind when you're doing this. I'll also have the instructions nearby, because I will forget everything, because there's a lot, but it's good fun. So the first thing you do is you cut out your stable. So you cut out your stable and your angel, etc. Now, when you do this, if it cuts out, if you've done your printable as actual size and it's identical, then this will be 8 inches wide. Okay, if it is 8 inches wide, then you're just going to score it 2 only at the bottom, 6 all the way through, and 4 all the way through, and then 6 here. So 2, 6, because you've got 2, 4, 6, 8. What do I keep saying 6 for the middle? It's 4, 2, 4, 6, 8. So that's the way that's going to work, you see. So now you only score the bottom of this. Do not score up here, okay? Because what happens is the angel goes backwards and the stable comes forwards like this. Okay, that's how it sits in the card. So you will do this when you put it into the card, because you'll use the angel as a guide for measuring, but eventually only the angel pushes back. So if this has got a fold in it, it will bend. So do not put score lines up here. You do need to score through that star. Sometimes it's better to leave that little bit in the paper before you do it, you know, before you cut it out. Score it first, because then you can get the score down through the star. Otherwise it's quite difficult to score that little tip there. But anyway, what we do to start with is we're going to add some of this sand to the back, because I've got a sand base. So you can see this is a different colour because I've printed it in a different colour. Crazy woman that I am. But we're going to pop that on there. So what you do is you just put a bit of glue on the tab. I just pop a bit of glue on the tab like this. And going to stick that over there like so, and you just need to make sure that that will fold over, because all pop-ups fold flat, so you need to make sure it's going to fold. Now if you put that too close to the crease, that's not going to fold anymore. So you just let that glue dry and then you snip it off with my bigger scissors, but we'll go with these. I love these little tiny scissors for cutting out. So I don't know why I've got a different coloured sand base, but never mind. We'll go with it for now. And you just cut it out. And then you've got your 2 colour tabs, I've done one already, on the back. If you're not cut it out and it wasn't 2, 4, 6, 8, then basically you're scoring right down the centre and either side of these posts. So where the tab is, there, and then all the way down the middle. So if your sizing's a little bit different, that's how you're scoring it. And then that's that bit. Then we've got, let me show you on the debris on this, we've got all the sizes that you need. So Joseph and Mary, these are the tabs that hold Joseph and Mary on. Now I like to put them on first now. So they're 4.5 by 1/2. So get those tabs, 4.5 by 1/2. So I've got 2 tabs there. And then what you do is you're going to score it at 1/4. I might zoom in a little bit, just bear with me. So 1/4, 1/2, and then you've got your 1.5 there, which is the same depth as the stable. Then another 1/4, another 1/2, and then your 1.5 and 1/4. So all those measurements are wrote down anyway. They're on here on your description, so it tells you where to do them, where to make all the scores and everything. But it's 1/4, 1/2, and then it's 1.5 more. So that's 2, and then 2 1/4, 2 1/2, 4. Okay, so that's what they are, like this. So it concertinas, so you get it to go like this, and then you're just pinching it in like so, and then this little bit wraps around the end. Now always check that this little bit is not gonna, see how it's not too bad actually. Now if that's interfering with the spring, this is a spring, it's not actually going to be a pop-up, it's just a spring. then snip a little bit of this end off. We'll see what the other one's like. And then you're just going to put some glue on that last tab here. Oh, just on that last tab there, like that. And then you can open it all back up and get that to lay down like that, so it's all flat, and then you can fold it over, and this is where you'll know if that's too small, too tight. So I'll just take a little bit off there like that, because it won't affect it. Just pop that in and fold it over. So now you've got yourself a spring shape that isn't being stopped. Now there's a bit of glue leaking, so I want to make sure it's open and leave that one to dry while we do the other one. So it's 1/4, 1/2, 2, 2 1/4, 2 1/2, and then it's 4, and it's 4 1/4, I think. I can't remember, but you know, it's all wrote down. So we're going to just do the same thing. So we'll lay it flat like this. Remember, you undo everything, and then just see if that wants to come over. That one's really tight, so we will snip some of that off, and just make sure before you put glue on that it's going to fit. Because there's folds in everything, it changes the size of it. Let's just do that like so. And then we're just going to put that together again. So we've got our 2 springs for Mary and Joseph. Now this is the only thing that I like to do. You know, this is going to go in next. This is going in the card, but I've done it without and I've done it with. Now can you see I've got a really horrible white cutting line there? So I'm just going to take a Sharpie from the back and just colour that in a little bit. It looks better than white. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to just pop this spring like so on there. So you can see it's the same width. So you want one of the long sides only. Pop some glue on it. Now, I might have written the instructions to put Mary and Joseph on first. You can do that. We'll do one way and one the other. Okay, so we're going to put the spring directly onto the stable, and then you see which one you like. Now we're going to come a little way from the edge, not fully, but just a little bit away from the edge like that. Because if it's right on the edge, Joseph will be too close to the mechanisms. So we've just got a spring added onto that stable near the angels' score lines on the outer edge. So what we'll do with this one, so Joseph goes on the right, Mary on the left. So we'll get Mary and get Joseph. So because Joseph's already there, we're just going to put glue on it and then add Joseph to this. Whereas this side, we're going to pop Mary onto this and then close it. So doing it the other way around. And just see what you think works best for you. You might find it easier to put it directly onto there, I think, because that way you can see what you're doing, can't you? It's just a little bit easier. So just pop that one on, and then we're going to add, well, that one's drying, so let's do this way. Let's try and make some organisation. Put that one on there. And then just make sure that the bottom, I think it says that in the instructions, make sure that the bottom of that tab is the bottom of Joseph. Now here, you can move him about, but you don't want this tab here showing, okay? You want that hidden, so just pop him on there. You want him to be more to the right, a little bit to the right, but not fully. So squash down. And you'll see that he'll spring away from the back. And it just looks nice. So it folds flat, but it does, you know, bring him away a little bit more forward. He's looking at Mary. Mary's looking at baby Jesus. So, cute. I've wanted to do this for such a long time, but I knew it would be a big thing. And working out the pop out, you know, that took me ages in itself. You should have seen the drawings on the prototype. It's hysterical. It's like, yeah. But you've got to do it. So you see what I mean? Now Mary's on here. You know where the bottom is. And I'm going to bring her on my card. She's quite close to the edge. And it sort of interferes with the palm tree a little bit. The bottom of her dress. So I'm going to, you can see now, you have to mess about a little bit more. So I think it would be easier, after, like, this is my 3rd or 4th make, probably to do it putting the tabs straight on the back. Now I was doing these when it was in the card, and that was even harder because it's popped up, so you can't grab hold of this and squash it because it's already in the card. But at this stage we're going to put everything into the card. So for now the angel is going to be forward. So this goes in the card like that. Okay, that's how it's going to sit in the card. So it folds like this, but when we put it in, we're going to have the angel forward like that, because it just helps with the mechanism. Okay, like measuring, really. It's all about the measuring. So this folds down, and you want to make sure you've got to fold it in half. So she's going to pop forward. Sorry, I just realised I didn't have my ruler, so I've just gone and got my ruler because we need the ruler next. So like I say, she folds forward like this. This is in half. And then you measure with your ruler 3 inches down from the top, which is there. And you pop the angel halfway. Now it has to be in the centre, like that. Then it says pivot, so you need to pivot. I believe it says pivot. Yeah, I wrote pivot. For this to be 1 1/4 from the top. So I'm going to lay my ruler down at 1 1/4. I can't see, I can't get over it enough. I think it's back there. It shouldn't matter too much. So we're going to pivot that around, make sure the angel dress is in the centre there. I'm going to stand up so I can see over the top of the camera. Yeah, that's about, it's about 1 1/4, isn't it? Sorry, taking too long to do that. So you've always got to check that nothing is hanging over the edges anywhere when you're doing this. Let me move the card up so you can see that the star might have to go out a little bit on this. Sorry about the wobble. So you've got to make sure that nothing's hanging out the sides, the bottoms, the top, or anything like that. Everything's going to be based off of the front. I'm catching my nails on this card, I hope I don't ruin it. So we want it to be 1 1/4. That's 1 1/2. It's not far off, let's go with that. We'll be here all night. So make sure this is still at 3, because I've moved about, I've gone off and got things, so just make sure this is about 3. It's about 3, that's fine. So what you do now is while you're holding it, just add some glue to this tab only. Now don't get it on the stable or anything like that, just make sure it's only on the tab. It's going to be quite tricky to not get glue on that stable, but if you do, it will come off on this base. Ask me how I know. Now make sure your card's up the right way. I know the stable's upside down, that's right, okay, so don't worry about that. And then just rub where that glue is carefully, and then when you open it, it will flip over to the other side, and then you add your glue to this tab. I've got it a bit too close to the stable for my liking, but I'm doing it stood up so I can see in the camera. Make sure you can see what I see. There's something about that, but I won't go there. Hold that down. Hold it nice and tight. Hopefully it dry. It's very important this is dry. So what will happen now is you've got your first pop-up. And then it says in the instructions, push the angel backwards. So she goes back, because you've already folded her backwards. And then fold it again to get that all in the right place. Be careful you don't make the card dirty. Put a bit of paper over it. So you've already got your first bit in. So you've got the angel, the stable, and you've got Mary and Joseph. And you can see they're stood away just by these springs, which is really nice. So back to doing the other bits that I was doing. And then what we do next, let's have a look at our instructions. Sorry, so we've done all of, believe it or not, we've done this. We've printed everything out, cut everything out, made the tabs, put the card in, and now we're going to do the manger. So the manger comes next. So we've cut our tabs out for the manger, and you've got 3 tabs for the manger. Now I've made about 5 different mangers, and this one worked the best. It may not have looked the best, but it definitely works the best. So you've got one that's 2 1/2, and you're just going to score it 1/4, 1 1/4, and 1/4. So that's halfway with a 1/4 on each side. Okay, so you score it like that. So that is what everything sits on. And then these are 3 1/4. So you score these at 1, 2, 3. So you end up with a 1/4 inch tab. Now what you're going to do is glue this edge without a tab like that. So all of these are folded in like this. Okay, they all fold in like that. They all come around the same way. And then what you're going to do is put some glue onto this. I'll call it like an A-frame because it's that kind of thing. So we're just going to smear our glue a little bit and pop one side on like so. Squash it down so we can really make sure it takes. Make sure the front's opening up without any problem. There we go. And then on the other side, remember you've got double here, so if you get lost and think, oh, it looks weird, where you've got the double, you've got to do it on the other side. And then just smear your glue over this side. Same thing, have the tab out at the end. It's the straight edge that's going to go at the bottom of this A-frame and then come up to the top like so. Okay, so that's going to be the manger. Okay, and the manger's going to sit in the card like this. Now, before I lay it down like that so you can see what it looks like, a bit like a bird. So now we're going to go on to baby cheeses. So what I've done is like a straw background, and what I do is you don't have to do this obviously, what I do is I just feather the edge. So take your scissors, tilt them, and then just go in with little bits. Now don't worry if a bit comes off and you've gone too close or too tight or anything like that, and you're just going to literally just feather all the way around the edge. Just a little bit came off then, I can see it in my fingers, and I'm not worried about that at all. So you just go around, feather, feather, feather. Now when you get to the corner, I like to go into the corner and do a bit because obviously it's going to change shape. So to keep the narrow, you're just getting it a little bit wider each time, a little bit wider each time until it's straight again. And then when it's straight, you'll know that's where you're going to stop. You just come up to it like that, and then again just go slowly around the corner. They have to be, you know, wider at the edge, narrower as you go in like that, and then you're on the straight and narrow. Da 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 da. So go all the way along there. Okay, now it says to fold baby cheeses in half, but what we're going to do, so he goes, you've got it like this with these wings at the side, and he's going to sit on this. Okay, now put some glue onto here and we'll fold in with the construction. So pop some glue onto there like that, smear it down, and I like to do it this way because you can, now I want him to be facing Mary because Mary's looking at baby Jesus and Joseph is looking at Mary. So I'm going to pop them in this way, and if you look from the back you can see if you're getting him in the center, you know, like width wise, and then you can turn it over, pull the sides down and make sure he needs to go this way a little bit more, so you can adjust him. If he was folded in the middle before you start, which I have done on two out of the 4, he was folded to begin with, so where he went had to go in the center. It had to be, you know, where I'd folded him, whether it was off or not. So just trying to let that dry a bit, and then what you're going to do is now fold him. So he's definitely going to go on this crease. I'm just using my thumb now, and you could put a ruler there just to get that to fold like that. And you can see it's not 100% in half, but it looked better how it was. So make sure he's facing towards Mary again. Now what you're going to do is pull this up, so you're going to put him right sides together like that, and then this one down with the tabs flat, so open the flaps, the tabs at the end down, and then fold down from the top there, not with him, so you're not coming all the way down like this, so it's not going like that because you can't access these tabs. So it goes in half like that, and that's how you put it into the card when it's folded like this. So you've got the A-frame coming down, baby cheeses is folded in half at the top like this. Now this is going to sit, let me just double check, I'm pretty sure it's 4 inches, but I want to check. place the bottom edge 4 inches from the bottom of the card and 1/4 of an inch from the center. Now that's by eye. You don't, that's not you know, very important. You don't want it to be too wide or too deep. So 1/4 of an inch, I just sort of like, so 4 inches there. I know it's got to go here and about 1/4 of an inch. Now this is 1/4 of an inch. You can do it by eye. So just hold the whole structure in place and just put glue. Oh no, glue went on the card. Not good. Try and get that off quickly because obviously the card will glue together. We don't want that. And when it's printed, it does lift the print if you stick something, so hopefully that won't happen, but it will be underneath the manger. So now what you can do, you're holding it all in place, but you can let that lift spring up just to smear the glue there. Pop that down because there's obviously another one underneath like this. Smear that down. Now what we're going to do is close the card, and none of the mechanism will touch it. I've designed it so it doesn't, and just squash down there and let it dry. Let it open up and it automatically goes the other way. I don't, designing these things is not easy, but oh my word, it's so satisfying when you do it. And it looks amazing. Can you imagine getting something like this from a friend for Christmas? Special family. Amazing. Okay, so again, just make sure it's straight, everything's straight and how you want it to be, and close the card. That's why it has to be 4 inches up, so it's not going to hit the stable or Mary or Joseph. Just, you know, the measurements I give you, stick to them and everything will be alright. Ta-da! And there you go. You've got your manger and baby Jesus, and everybody's not clashing. Everything's good. It's all working out fine. So that's that stage done. And then what we'll do now is we'll move on to the camel and the palm tree. Now the camel and palm tree have straps as well. And there's our, it's upside down, 4.5 by 2.5. Now I've laid these on here as well because of the grain, because obviously you've got the same grain of wood, etc. So you want the grain of wood to be in the right direction. So the palm tree is going to go on this edge of the stable, so it needs to be with a vertical wood, but the camel goes on the edge, so it's got a horizontal wood, which is why the camel one's down here. Now they're 4.5 by 1/4 of an inch, so they're not very big at all. These are little skinny ones here, so 4.5 by 1/4. And again, we're going to do the same thing. So this is scored at 1.5, 2, 3.5 and 4. Okay, so what you make is like a little box frame, if you like. But what we do again is we lay it down, and you can see that that does not want to come round. So we're going to snip some of that off there, like that, until it does. So now it comes round. So when it's a box, it won't be annoying. But you know, it was all the same size, but these things happen when you put lots of folds in card, and it all depends on the thickness of your card. Now with card, this is 220 GSM, what I've printed everything on. You want to be sturdy enough to be, you know, a supportive mechanism, but not too thick. Now I did it with 300 GSM and the card was that thick when closed. So you really don't want to do that. Now just go backwards and forwards with this to get it to fold in all the right places. And then you check it, it's the vertical one. The vertical one is going on the palm tree. We'll just make this one, so we'll put it that side. Let's just check this one again. So fold all those scores in. They're all going in the same direction. And then pull over the top one. Now that one doesn't seem too bad. So I think we'll go with that. So let's just put that back up. I don't think I need to snip that one. Oh, I don't know, it's bowing a little bit. We'll take a little bit off. It's always best to take a bit off, because if it bows, then obviously the structure will bow when it's inside the card. So it's best to deal with it now, because you can't do it later, you can't change it. So go backwards and forwards. Now obviously you can print all these, use your own ideas, use your own card colours, blah blah blah. But obviously credit me, because this is my design. and this is horizontal, and that is for the camel. So what you'll notice with some of the things that I've drawn, so for instance the camel has a piece of horizontal wood between the legs there. All of this is done so it's been easy to cut out, because otherwise you'd have all of this flimsiness. I've changed the design of these so many times, like especially the kings, the shepherd, everything, to make everything easy to cut out. So less cutting is better. So what we can do is put that onto the back of the camel like so, and I would probably say do this one, I won't do it on there, because do this one on the back, because you want it to be horizontal and you want to see where the camel sits, and I'll show you that in a minute. So any of the long sides, I know one's got a tab on, but it won't matter, you won't see it, like the extra bit that folded over, you won't see it. So we're going to pop that at the bottom edge, and it's going to make you want to go in a different direction, because the camel's obviously slanted legs. This is what I'm saying, put it on the back of the camel, because you want it to be 90 degrees. So we'll slide it over a little bit more, like that. And then we'll come down like that. So you can see now, you've got this bit here. So I'm going to lift it up to the camera. So we've popped that bit on there, like that. So we've got this box, hollow box, it folds for the pop-up, backwards and forwards. It's got the horizontal lines in there already, so you didn't have to cut that out and fussy cut all that. And then this is going to go onto the back on the horizontal side. So now you put it up to the card, and then what you do is you check that so that would be on the floor. Okay, this little bit here is on the floor. So you check, because you pull that down there, your camel is hanging over the edge of the card. So the check is the 1/2 inch, so it's the base bit, okay? So this base bit is the bit we're checking. So we're pushing that up against the stable. That bit there, we pull it all down, push that up to the stable, like that, because that gives you your 1/2 inch gap. And then you need to make sure this camel is not hanging over the edge. So you also want it to be, this is the horizontal, so it pretty much goes on the edge post here. It's the horizontal print. You don't want it on the pillar, it'd be too far forward. So add some glue to the base, the back rather. This is the 1.5 inch strap. Don't do anything on this top bit. So this is the 1.5 inch strap, and this is the base. So this is the base, and that other strap at the back with nothing on that top section at all. Okay, so lay your camel back down close to this horizontal. I know you probably can't see that, but we're going to push it down like that so we know roughly where it is. I'm going to turn it up, so you want him to be about there. So we're going to pop the camel there, just close it up, make sure it doesn't overhang before it dries, and give it a good old squash and let it dry. Now just get your scissors or school tool in there, make sure it's all stuck to the back. You can see around the back here, got the camel in, and it closes, it all folds. Just give that another rub, and that's in fine. So it's coming along. Look, got camel all going on. Now we've got our other one, which is our palm tree. So again, I'm going to put it onto the palm tree first, because I want to check the palm tree fits in the card. Oops, what am I doing? Not on the short side, on the long side. So what I was talking about with the tab thing is there's the tablet on there, but it doesn't matter if it's hitting the stable or hitting the tree. Just put glue on there, and again we can push this up for now to make sure it's on. Hopefully you can see. Can you see all right? There. Put it up through the centre of the tree. Give it a good old rub. Make sure it's stuck, and then pull it back down the other way, like that. Now there'll be no glue on this top, there'll be glue on the bottom and glue on there when we know where it's going. So again, we can use that fold as a guide. It goes on this pillar, okay, it's going on this pillar, but we want to make sure, like if you put it there, again, if you put it there too far to the left, it's going to overhang. So it needs to come over. Now I have put it too close to Mary in the past, so it's best to get it a little bit away from Mary's dress. They were clashing. So it's usually dead centre. That's how it usually works out. Okay, so what we'll do is we've pulled it away, pop some glue onto the base bit and up the back strap, smear it down, and then push that back like so. Probably won't stick, we'll probably have to stand it up to get it to go better. And then just push it against the stable. When you've got it in the right kind of place, fold the card, because the card fold well, and you see that's really close to the edge. I was lucky there that didn't go over the edge. I was very close to the edge. Fold it down, give it a rub, make sure that it's stuck on the back and on the base here. Make sure everything's all stuck in, and then we've got the palm tree in as well. So it gets really easy, because obviously once you've cut everything out, and I just sit down and cut everything out and then get on and do it all in one go. So then we've only got these 2 straps, 3 straps actually. There's one missing somewhere. What have I done with that? I'll probably have to go and cut another one, because it's definitely AWOL. Bear with me. Yep, definitely lost it. So I've just scored it as well. So it's 1.5 to 3.5, 4. So that just gives you a little box shape. They're all the same size. So the palm tree, the camel, and these 2 straps are all the same size. They're all 4.5. They just have different widths. So this one's a 1 and that's a 3/4. And again, you want to put it down so you've got the tab on its own, and then just make sure it's going to fit. I am going to take a little bit off. It looks like it fits, but like I said before, I've just realised as well why this is a different colour to this. They're different cardstocks. Remember I told you that I was using a different cardstock before? Yeah, well I've changed cardstock and I've done the card in the old cardstock. And you know, that's the difference with it. It comes out with really different colours, so make sure that you've got a decent cardstock to use. So you make another box just like we did everything else. These are just like 1/2 inch scores in 1.5. Everything's 1.5. Nearly everything is 1.5 on these. So again, we're going to fold it down and check. Pull it over. Pop some glue on there. This smaller one is 3/4 inch and the other one is 1 inch, and they're both 4.5 inches long. So again, fold it both ways. Now this piece goes between the camel's legs, okay, on the back. So it's going to be probably quite tricky for me to show you, but it does just slot in like that, okay. So it goes against that section there, okay. It just goes between the legs of the camel into the back. So because that's where it's going to go, we'll just put it in there, because you have to get it between the camel's legs. So it's important that that works. So I'm just adding glue off film camera, and then I'm just going to slide it in, and you want it to be on the edge of the stable. You don't want it to come out the other end of the stable. So right up to the stable, push it on, and you can see that's right up to the stable there. And I've glued the base. I'm going to close the card, because everything finds its own place when you close the card, and just make sure probably open that before the glue dried. So let's do that again. You see, look, can you see it's there on the edge here? So as you push it down, let everything finds its own place to be, and give it a good old squash. Allow that to dry. Actually, while that side's drying, we'll put the other side on. So the other side is going to go here. So the only thing with these ones is, you know, you've got this tab here. don't have that on the top because nothing's going to cover it, so make sure that goes on the base. So this is just going to go on the edge here, up against that side there. So just going to pop that on like so. So we're going to have glue on one end. So you only put glue on one end, and you put glue on that base with the tab. The same for the other side with the camel one. The tab on the bottom. Don't know if I said that or not when we were doing it. So have now. I'm just going to pop that in like so. So pushing it up to the stable and then squashing it down again. You can see there it is. It's not really glued properly, but we'll give it a squash and it will be in a minute. And then we open it up. I'm just going to allow for those to dry and make this final one. So this is just 2.5 by half, and it is 5 half folds, so it's just one like this. So again, we need to make sure that nothing's getting in the way. So what we'll do is that half, leaving that space, and I think you can see that doesn't want to fold over easily, so we chop a bit off. And we fold this one over here, like so. Glue that down. Pop that on. Now I'm going to have to open this quicker than what I wanted. Quicker than that, because I know there was glue. It could have got onto this card. So you've just got yourself a little cube one, okay? That's going to be for the kneeling king in a moment. So we'll just put that to the side and let that one dry. And another thing we can do while we're waiting is, do you remember the cow and the donkey? We've got tabs on these, so we're going to cover the backs again with the card, and it's the same principle. You just put glue onto the tab like so, smear it down like this, grab some of the background colour. They're all different. All the different papers I've used are all coming out to play. Don't do that. You want it to be nice and uniform. Alright, let's move it over, come on. So remember, up to the tab, but make sure that can fold. Whoops, don't want to break it. Make sure that can fold down. It's a little bit too close to the fold line, so pull it away a little bit. There we go. That's better. And then just... So with the cow and the donkey, when you cut these out, the only scores you're going to do are across the top of the tab. So here, and my thumbnail is. Go across the top of the tab. Do the bigger pair of scissors, couldn't I? And up through the centre. So where the two tabs become a V, you're just going to score. Can you see there's a score line? Now they go that way, but that's where you're going to score. Now the grass I've done for you, like you know I said about the cutting out thing. So the grass I've done the same sort of thing as the straw. So we've got grass with a green background, a bit of a sandy colour in there as well to make it more authentic. So again, you're just chopping. So with this grass, I tend to go like do some diagonals along the top like this. Do some diagonals a little bit the other way, not too severe because you're going to lose bits, and try and make it haphazard. Is haphazard the right word? Probably not. Random. That's me. And then some smaller ones like we did for the manger, some little bits like this, and you'll see bits falling off, and that's what you want. But you don't want to go too deep with this because you need the structure of the pop-up. So if you go right down low, you're losing all of that, so you don't want to lose too much of that. You can see all these little tiny bits everywhere. So that shows that you've done that. So they're ready to go in as well. They're going that way, so let's just fold that down straight so I don't wreck it. There we go. So they're going to go on there. Even though that's a different colour, it's still better than white. You can see the white really shows up. So it is worth doing because it just looks nicer, doesn't it? It looks better. And it's more mystery. How did you do that? How did you make that? Not telling. Again, these two kings, I changed these more than anything else because of cutting out. I didn't want it to be too hard for you. The only thing on this one is it's got, as you can see, showing you on the back, the crown. But you just go in do all the cuts that way, go back, do all the cuts that way. Comes away nice and easy. Okay, so we've got gold, frankincense and myrrh. And these two kings, I joined them. They were sort of like separate. They had a bit in the middle here, and I thought, no, that's just going to be too hard. Let's make it as easy as possible, which is why they've got curved hats and everything else, just to make it nice and easy for you. Now, the two kings, let's move cow and donkey there last. The two kings go in here, and again, put them up against that structure in front of the camel. So remember the structure we made. Put them up against it, and bring the card over, fold it. Now you can see, because they're up against there, if they go there, his head is slightly outside the card. So I'm going to make sure that doesn't happen. Move him over. So just do that. Make sure that everything's going to work. Put glue on this tab. You can keep him laid down. Sorry, I've got really bad asthma. I've had bad asthma for a long time. Let's go back to the asthma nurse because it's not good. And then, see, I'll butt it up against there so that it was inside, and now I can just close the card so that that catches on there. Palm tree's coming out a little bit. What's happened there then? What's that? I'll check that in a minute. Oh, got it caught up as well. So it's gone wonky donkey, hasn't it? What's it done that for? Oh no, it slid. That's why. Look, it slid. I wasn't glued and I was messing about. Hopefully we can sort that so it doesn't come out over the card. Now, if it all else fails, you can chop a bit of the palm off. I've designed it so that when you cut it out, you see there's a light green area. You can cut it out and it won't matter. So we will chop those bits off at the end, because now it's too late to move that, because that'll just all rip and tear. It's not worth it. So the bits that are overhanging, I'll work it out in a minute. It's those two. We'll be cutting those down smaller. So there you go. So that's that bit. So that's how the king's going. And then this one goes in front, but we'll do that in a minute because that's still probably drying. So we'll go over to the shepherd. The hook's the only tricky one on this one to cut out. Now cut all that inside bit of the hook out before you do the outside. Okay, and just be, you know, really careful with that little bit. That's the only really tricky bit on all of the cutting, I would say, is that bit. So with this one again, we need to lay it down. Now you can see it's overhanging there. So if you go too far, it will overhang the card. So bring it back, it's almost on the edge. Pop some glue only on this tab. You can push it back a little bit, but not too much, because you'll bend the stable the wrong way. Did not want that to go on there at all. And then rub that down. And again, we can bring the card. So the opposite side to where you're holding, you close the card that way. Okay. And then we just open it up quickly. Oh no, there was glue in the wrong place there. I'm just going to squash that on. Now I've designed it, you'll see, because there was lots of problems. But you see the hook? The hook was getting caught on the tree. Now it doesn't. Okay, so it's things like that that took so long for me to design to make sure everything worked really, really well. But it all works fine. Now that's gone a little bit. I think the shepherd is a little bit, yes he is. Naughty, naughty, come up. Can you see he's just caught? I pushed him in underneath, I think. So because of that, this is folding a little bit. So you just need to make sure that's okay. Try and lift it up a bit. I'm having trouble over this side. There, that's better. So everything works really well now. And we've only got the king and the donkey and the cow to go. So the king goes onto this little block. Okay, so this little block here. Now, you want to put it really onto this king, because this king, you don't want it to show. I'm just going to do two sides of the cube and then I'll explain what I mean. So just put glue on two sides of the cube. So I'm going to move this out of the way. I'm trying to move it out of the way. So the king here, the blue and red one, this is going to go against it and that's going to be on the bottom. Now if I go too far over, we'll catch his gown. So it's almost like on the red bit, okay? So it needs to be a bit on the red. See, we don't want this corner overhanging his gown. It wouldn't matter too much, but it's probably best not to. Let's just quickly do that because I don't want to make sure it doesn't move before I commit. Alright, okay, now we're committing. We're committing. It's in. There we go. Didn't glue, so a bit more glue. Took too long and the glue dried. This is a quick drying glue. This one. It's good for structures like this. Okay, you on? Happy? You're stuck? Put my little pinky in there. Make sure it is. Right. Don't want to be too patient. Don't like it. And then finally, this king goes on. So again, he's got a bit of a gown there that you don't want to be showing that cube. So we're going to move him over till you don't see the cube. So we can put glue on the cube. Just put a bit of glue on the cube. Smear it. And then pop the king on. Like so. Like that. Okay. Now we know he's not going to overhang the edge because he's gone closer to the centre. I'm just going to let that dry because I know it's fine. And then we'll just do our last piece, which is the cow and the donkey. Now, this is the only one where the structure will hit it. So you have to put it in a special way. So all we've got to do is the centre point here. It's going to be 2 3/4 of an inch up from the bottom. Okay. And then the edge is 1 inch up from the bottom. So I'm just going to take my ruler again. Do 2 3/4 inch measure here. I don't like this ruler. I've got another one. It's a bit weird. There's too much going on. I prefer this end. There's too much going on there. So I need this one here. 2 3/4 there. That's 3 3/4. 2 3/4 here. It's going to go about there. So that's going to go about there, like so. So what you do is you lay it down now, because we know where it's going to go. Make sure that's in the centre. And this has to be right on the centre, because there's not much there, and if you pull it apart it will rip. Now this had to be, was it 1 inch up from the bottom? 1 inch. Yeah, it's near enough. It's only the angle to make it look better. It's not. It's important to have the 2 3/4 in the right place because you don't want to clash with anything. But how far around it comes isn't too important. Still important, but not majorly. So with this one, you have to lay one side down and put the tab down, back down like that. We're not closing the card to do this one because everything will get glue on it. So we're getting that one locked in. So donkey's locked in. And then we're going to open it like this, and we can fold it over and lift that up, you see. So what I did there was this tab needs to come under for the cow. So we need to have that at the back as well. And then when you fold this, this is the only time you have to make sure, little horn's been caught, that this star heads between the two of them. Otherwise you're going to be gluing that top to the tab. So this is the only time. Now if you want to and you don't want to close the card to do it, just measure up 1 inch from here, put the glue, oops, close it like that. It'd be a nightmare. Pop some glue on here. Now it needs to fall in the same place though, because it's a pop-up. That's the only thing. Let me show you how you do it. Right, so it's getting the glue everywhere, which I really don't want to do. I'm going to have to wipe my fingers, bear with. Way too much glue on me. So what you need to do with this one, it's going to be tricky for you to see this, so you need to hold this in the air. Let that come in. So once you've got the roof going, the star going in between them, then you can lay the cow down to match the donkey. Okay, so it's in the same place as a donkey, like that. Fold it back and close the card with the star in the middle. Open it up and then you can firm all this down. Okay, so now they're in the same place as each other. So that is your pop-up. It's all done. How cool is that? How cool is that? So just bear with, I'll have to zoom out. So there we go. This is the one we've just made. There we go, and it goes that bit. That's the one with the, I've got to cut that bit of palm tree down in a minute and get that sorted. Because it went wonky. As you can see, it's wonky. You can see it's wonky in there, but it doesn't really show, does it? I think I know because I designed it. But that's that one that we've just made, and this is the one that I made before, just to prove that I haven't switched it out. So this one's got the matching paper. This one doesn't. But do you know what? You can't really see, can you? It's a little bit sort of like brownier. This is much sandier, but you can't really see. There you go, that's how you make it. So the links to buy are in the description. So Etsy and Ko-fi. So have fun, guys, and I hope you really enjoy it. Can't wait for your comments. Bye.